The video that you're about to watch is an excerpt from a live webinar. If you enjoy the contents of this video, please like and subscribe. I'd love to hear your comments. Thanks for watching. These values of guilt, shame, and fear, are regulatory qualities that help people function in a way that keeps them aligned with natural law. When guilt, shame, and fear are applied, or when they're handled, when they're in their proper place, you could say, when they're in their proper place and everybody in the society agrees what that place is, and it's sort of well defined, then these three values, you almost never even need to get to the second two values. If guilt, just the guilt alone, is properly placed, it is a self-referral tool for keeping oneself on the path of evolution in a graceful manner. The problem lies in a very old patterning in the field of humanity, which is when the guilt is felt, also I'm not good enough is activated. And I'm not good enough is a way that separation from wholeness is experienced. The way a person experiences them as separate from the source of creation, their source. You're never separated from your source of creation. That's literally not possible. It's literally not possible even after you're dead. You can say, well, the fact that you're alive is proof that you're connected to the source of creation, because the source of creation provides the very life force that flows through the body. So if you're breathing, and your heart is beating, then you are connected to the source of creation. But that's just not the way people experience it. What we experience is that some part of the physiology feels insufficient to fully embody that flow, that infinite flow of intelligence and creativity coming from the source of creation, right? The source of creation is it's an infinite source. It's an infinite source. And it's rising up and rising up and rising up, and it's bubbling through us, all of us, constantly. And then if there's some part of the body that's like, wow, when all this light comes through, I can't take it. It's too much. It feels like too much. It means that part of the physiology, we're looking at the electromagnetic part, that part of the physiology, the electromagnetic field right there is getting like it's short circuits. That part of the physiology starts to cry, and it's the part that will fall ill. That's the part that falls ill. So the falling ill drives awareness to the ill area. And the driving of awareness brings the soma, and it activates the devatas, and it starts the healing process going. And as the healing process gets to work on that part of the physiology, wherever it is, that part of the physiology undergoes some refinement. It aims when you know that the aim is evolution. The aim is for that blueprint to have so much strength and flexibility in it that infinite amounts of pure being can come through that part of the physiology, and that part of the physiology just laps it up. That's the aim. That's the intention. But when I'm not good enough, is here. I'm not good enough. What happens is it causes the electromagnetic field of the body, instead of responding in a positive manner to the situation, to resist and get kind of warped out of shape and dysfunctional. And it is the feeling of separation from wholeness that is at the very seed core of the illness in the first place. So guilt is a very, very important and valuable tool that we use to help keep ourselves aligned with natural law, to help support each person is doing the best they can to support behavior that aligns with the rest of society. And we're going into the gap between the mechanism that allows you to recognize when you've made a mistake or when there's some potential for growth. Okay, because before the body falls ill, the potential for growth is already there going, hey, wait a minute, I could be better here. I could be more of an expression of divine being in this one spot. But if we ignore that, then eventually that part of the body falls ill. So there are more movements taking place, more movement of consciousness in the gap. And it's kind of creating a little bit of a separation between the function of guilt in its optimized form, in its full potential, which is to be a warning signal for you and for me and for everyone that of how to stay on the path before I fall ill, before I get overwhelmed, before I make a mistake that's so big that then I have to pay some bigger price. A lot of love is coming up, and I feel as if that love is being generated deep down in the body, all the way down, especially for the men in this group, all the way down at the first chakra, all the way down on the pelvic floor, is this just deep generation of sweetness and love and power and the identification with the divine, right from the pelvic floor, right from the reproductive organs, eliminative organs. The unconditional love, which forms the very connection between ourselves and the source of creation, is lively. Unconditional love, unconditional acceptance, complete recognition of the presence of one's being as divine. It's a big healing. It's a big healing. You guys, it's a big healing for sexuality. That's interesting. I guess that kind of goes in line with those human rights violations, doesn't it? Big healing, because we become the filter through which the divine flows and supports, it creates a pathway that allows, like, acts as a guide for the world, for everyone to follow a way to get through from a very bad place to a good place, a place where behaviors support social cohesion. I'm using that word. That support a world where everyone lives their full potential and helps everyone else live their full potential. And that ties back to the Michael Levine video that I refer to, which I'm so happy to send you. It's a video, I'll let you see it because it's golden. It's just golden. But essentially what he talks about is how the electromagnetic spectrum of cells, generally they follow, the cells in our body follow certain social rules. And they know that they are part of a bigger form. And they know that their survival depends on the well-being of the larger form, as well as their individual environment. Like, say they're all liver cells or something, like they know, like, yes, I have to function like a liver cell, like my fellow liver cell, my family fellow liver cells here. But they also know that they're part of the bigger environment of the whole body. And what happens is very, very clearly now, very clearly defined, like they have tables, they have indexes. The scientists who are working on this thing, Levine started out going into biology as a means to create quantum computing. So he's kind of like computer scientist, biologist, something like that, but ended up discovering specifically the electromagnetic index or signature of a cell that is cancerous, has decided that it's not part of the group, that it lives on its own and it's out for its own gains, and it only cares about performing action that serves its individual function. So it's kind of like hungry and just sucking up whatever resources in the environment it can possibly suck up. And Levine has figured out, and he's doing this in little animals. He shows pictures of little animals. They'll go in and they'll change the electromagnetic spectrum of a little cell or a little bunch of cells in a little animal that tell those cells, you no longer belong to this animal, you're rogue cells. You're on your own. So you just eat this animal alive if that's what you want to do. And then they start doing that. And then they go back in with a little zapper device, right? It's just a little electromagnetic. They put in a particular specific electromagnetic frequency that tells the cells, no, wait a minute, guys, you're part of the group here. You actually belong to this little animal's, gut or whatever. And they restructure the electromagnetic frequency in those cells, and the cells stop being cancer cells. They join the group. They're like, oh, wait a minute. I can have my cake and eat it too. I can live a happy cell life without damaging my world. Okay. So this information now already exists. This is research that's being done right now, and it's happening. And so you can betcha it's not being done on people yet, but you can betcha some point in the future, it's going to be done on people. That's just the way it's going to happen. But you guys, we already have the key right now, because we're controlling the electromagnetic spectrum of the cells in our body with our feelings, right? You've heard me say it once. You've heard me say it 100 times. It's the anchor to wholeness that guides every feeling, because you're going to feel every feeling along the whole entire spectrum of human experience in your lifetime. That is a given. Sometimes you're going to be happy. Sometimes you're going to be sad. Sometimes you're going to grieve, right? Sometimes there's going to be bliss everywhere. Anchored to wholeness. It's the anchor to wholeness that causes that feeling to drive the evolutionary narrative forward in the body.